Sound familiar? Well, it should do, seeing as it was used on 3 commercial songs, or at least the ones that I've found. One of the 3 tracks I'm going to be primarily focusing on is Nas's Hero, which is probably the most popular of the 3. That was released in 2008, I believe, along with a song by Joe Thomas, formerly known as Joe. That was on his 2008 album, and more recently, a single by Fat Joe called Ballin'. So what I've got here is 2 instances of Native Instruments Massive. The first one is the one that I've tweaked just a little, and the second is the original, so you can tell the difference. Now they're very, very, very similar. The difference between the 2 is, when I was playing back Hero, it sounded to me like the sound was a little higher in pitch. So I figured what he's probably done is, unless there's been a large EQ boost in the high frequencies, he's probably layered the sound. Now, because it's quite unique in that it uses an arpeggio and a delay, I figured he's probably laying a couple of notes together. But if you go into the original patch and you try and layer 2 notes together, you can't actually do it. Notice how the sound doesn't change? So what you need to do is, you need to come out of here, and then if we go to the original patch, well actually no, we can just go in here again. So if we go to here, you need to go to the, let's have a look, where is it? Voicing. You see here you've got monophonic selected, so essentially what that means is it means you can only play a single note at a time. If you try and play another note, it's just going to cut it off. However, if you change to polyphony here, you'll notice now I can play as many notes together as I like. So what I've done is I've layered the same key together, which adds a little extra dynamic to the sound, and I've lowered the velocity because having the 2 notes at the same velocity was a bit too much. So if you compare the difference, it was a bit too harsh. At least when I was comparing this side by side with the Nas song. So I've just taken that down a little bit. And I think he may have, well, first of all, he's definitely changed the step. So let's turn that off. First of all, he's definitely made some changes to the step sequencer, which is, so look, where are we? Here we go. So you see here, you can see the notes going across. You can change them how you like. So you can move that like that, just move those up. So I think what he's done is he's left the first section alone, and he's made some amendments to the second part. So if you listen to the original, you'll notice that the second not only changes in pattern, but it also changes in frequency, so it sounds a bit higher. Moving on to the other 2 songs, I'm not going to cover them in too much detail, but the Joe Thomas song, it sounds pretty similar to the original patch. Whereas if you listen to the song by Fat Joe, it's been significantly slowed down. It's quite hard to talk about it without actually giving some comparisons. So what I'll do is I'll link to each of the sounds in the description, and you can make up your own minds there. But there's no doubt in my mind that this was the preset that Polo the Don used on Nas's single. I don't believe the other 2 songs were also produced by Polo the Don. If anything, it should encourage you to avoid using presets. I'm not saying don't use presets ever, but it goes to show that I've managed to myself pick out the same preset used in multiple songs. And one of the videos further along the line I'll be covering is a preset that's been used again in 3 or 4 songs. I'll see if you can maybe guess what that preset's going to be, so I'll give you a clue. Well, actually, you could do your own research. If you look up the song by 2 Chainz called Yeah, I Love Those Strippers, which is off of his most recent album, then if you look up Wiz Khalifa's Cabin Fever track, which is off the same mixtape title. So the mixtape's called Cabin Fever. And if you also look for a song also done by Wiz Khalifa, which is called Molly, you'll find that the preset that's used in all three of those songs is the same. It's quite ironic, really, that somehow Wiz Khalifa has managed to use 2 tracks using the same primary sound. Okay, so next up is going to be a slight remake of YG's Bompton, so stay tuned for that.